Today, I woke up to yet another PC folk, social justice warrior failure, attacking anime yet again, making anime more mainstream, making anime look like American and so on, right? Which is just so many faults here. First of all, just yesterday we had 4 animes with 4 female main characters, all really good animes. I don't even see what they're talking about in the general population of animes, but whatever. This is from the Pokemon concept artist then, Kiko Moritsugu, that wants to like make anime much more like Marvel, right? Much more like Disney in general, and I don't know. It's not about fan service. It's about, just generalizing, making the characters more mainstream, reaching out to all the culture speaking and so on. But what I'm reading that is mainly like just removing Japanese culture and making it more like the other cultures, honestly. There's 3 main topics I want to talk about, which is sales, culture, and representation. Which I consider right away, in my opinion, representation is better in anime. Much, much better than in Marvel comics and so on. And I'm a huge fan of both, right? So going from that standpoint, talk about that last. But first of all, I want to say this thing though. It shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter at all. But I'm not cisgender. I identify as a futanari. I love yaoi, yuri, anime, and so on. So I don't want to hear people say that, oh, you just like this stuff. No. I love them. My favorite anime right now is, of course, Carol and Tuesday. Amazing American, so I'll talk about much more about similar and so on. But it's when I say that, right? Because I feel like, Jesus Christ, like it irritates me almost even more that gay relationship is shown better in anime already. So I don't even know why you want reps. Yeah, like why should it change? If anything, Marvel this should take after the Japanese culture. But anyway, the first thing then, the logical, massive, factual logical failure is sales, right? So the reason, a massive reason why animes or mangas like My Academia, One Punch Man, and so on are popular right now is actually the massive decline from Marvel. Yeah. The massive decline from Marvel has pulled people into reading the Japanese manga and so on. This is factually as it comes. I used to have Marvel blog and mostly about Marvel, right? And I kind of stopped writing about it less and less over the years because it was more like, Bobby Drake's Iceman's thing, Squirrel Girl, Captain Marvel comics and so on. Actually, I liked the first Captain Marvel comics, but then each iteration is become worse and worse and so on. And I have heard from hundreds of people that used to read both Marvel comics, so on, and they stopped reading Western comics almost entirely to start reading just manga instead. Right? Manga and anime are just way better in general, people think, right? But a massive thing here is that, especially My Academia, as you can prove it, and also One Punch Man, that they are selling really good in America. And actually, interesting enough, they are not as popular in Europe. And I have a lot of family in Europe, like my cousins and so on, and my most family lives in Brussels. I mean, they read all kinds of European comics, right? And also manga, and some American comics. And yeah, they still like Spider-Man and so on. But in Europe, the search of like My Academia isn't that big like it in America. Why? Well, these animes are very similar to Marvel, right? Superheroes, they're fighting and so on, being political, they're not being forcing any kind of situation on cats and so on, right? And that really makes them stay popular and kind of pulling away people. They're pulling away the people that used to enjoy the classic Marvel comics into, for example, One Punch Man and so on. Even though One Punch Man is more parody, of course, generally, but still, they're putting that away, right? So actually, a massive increase in the sales of anime and manga is because Marvel and the other Western comics, like DC Comics and so on, but especially Marvel, are failing, and their former customers are going over to the Japanese media. So when people are talking about the sales thing, like she's talking about, oh, they should do this thing to reach out and make more money and so on, it actually makes logically no sense whatsoever. Again, right, a massive reason why they're increasing in sales so much over the years is because people like them more than the Western, right? Of course, Marvel and so on has been failing for a while in the comics, so they're going down. The movies are going great. The movies are good movies, but the comics are just worse and worse. But that also has to pull out the customers, right, to Japanese media. So that's the first thing. It's just logically doesn't make any sense whatsoever saying this thing. Basically, right, the Japanese media is now then conquering the old Disney media, right? Yeah, they're taking them over. The media they have bought are now losing to the modern Japanese. Isn't pampering to people that don't buy comics anyway. That is a massive reason, right? They usually try to pamper to the people that would never buy the comics anyway, and they will especially not buy manga or anime. Absolutely not. Since the Japanese would make dear stuff to pamper to these people, right? The PC folks generally, they would sell even less, right, than Marvel are selling. Yeah, they just lose money. That's a massive issue with technology. It just doesn't make any logical sense on a mathematical level. It just doesn't. It just really, it does not. So I think that's pretty much fair, yeah. So anyway, talking about the culture thing. Let's talk about the culture thing, because there's an interesting thing, and I even tweeted so to her, and she gave me this really weird culture answer. She's like, oh, I want everyone to share cultures and, you know, spread culture beliefs and so on, right, all across the world. But the problem with that is that what you were saying here is just like, let's remove Japanese culture and make it more just like American culture, like that. So what you're saying is, remove this culture, and that's so that just feels weird, right? Instead of saying that we're gonna have different kind of culture, different kind of input and so on, we're just gonna have one big culture, right? And of course, that is also, actually going back to point one as well, if the Japanese culture will just become exactly like the American culture, and they will do exactly the same kind of character, and they will remove character, for example, like Minetta in Margarita, he will be removed like it's a perfect character, we can't have that anymore and so on. If they just, you know, contemplate, just become exactly the same, and just adapt or whatever into what's happening on other continent, what will happen then? The culture will disappear, but also they will sell less. They can in no way compete with the massive corporation that is Disney. Can't compete with the Disney business and so on. So it also makes no sense in that way. Like, they're just gonna be selling less and also losing their own culture, just because we can't have cash anymore, like Midnight Sensei. So the culture of being different and not being the same, also increasing your money and so on. But at the same time too, though, I think the general thing, though, I feel it's a little weird, right? Because we do know that, yes, the Disney, I'm not gonna say the end is the same, but they're very mainstream, right? They're very similar, they're very, how would I say it? I think some Disney pieces actually are pretty good characters, but I would say that most of them are very similar. You won't get this, for example, right now we have You Never Studies going out on anime, with like Urika-chan, the sporty tan girl, tomboy girl. I mean, you won't have the kind of the more type of characters that anime has. Anime has more extreme characters, right? Because they're not mainstream. They have a little cliche of characters every now and then, but they're much more different, right? Makes it also more interesting, makes the character actually feel more real, because they aren't just like the carbon copy of each other with small difference. They're actually very different. Again, because then you're trying to do the exact same thing. You're trying to write and create the same kind of female characters and so on that Disney is doing, and Disney have way more marketing money than you and so on. So you don't can beat them, right? You're gonna lose on that massively. So it doesn't make any goddamn sense. I think it's a big kicker though. The first two things, the sales one, super obvious. They are earning more money now because they are not doing what, yeah, because they're taking after usually the earn sales, right? And the culture is different and unique, so they get the money they're doing, yeah. But the representation though, I found very interesting. I found this very interesting, to be honest. So yes, maybe we do have to have some harem animes, and for example, like, yeah, Gobetani. I think a cute anime, all goes different and so on. Fan service in anime and so on, right? Because they have that culture exists, right? They have the kind of unique and crazy characters. You can grow big and control the breast size and so on, and this is kind of fun. It's kind of quirky. That is true. Anime has that going for it. That is very unique, right? They have unique characters. People can do whatever they want and so on. They're not constrained. But the strength of that, then, okay, so here comes I think the massive kicker in my opinion. The strength of that is animes like Sara Sanmai. Okay, so currently Sara Sanmai is airing, which is a very good, it's a crazy yaoi, boy you love your anime. So basically the main character is a cross-dresser, but he might be doing it for his brother's sake. Kind of confusing right now, but he is probably in love with one of his friends, and then his friend is in love with him. It's like a love triangle between 3 boys, right? And so on. And it's really interesting. It's extremely quirky. I mean, the anime is really quirky and so on. But this kind of animes are being made, right? There is no way ever Hollywood or any kind of like US media or European media would make something as crazy as Sarah Sanma. I'm not saying it's the best representation of homosexuality ever. It really isn't. But it's like a funny, quirky way to do it. And, you know, it's nothing bad with it, right? And definitely it's making homosexuality and so on look completely normal, even though it's just crazy. But that's what it is, right? And that's a good anime. That would happen if you don't let people just do whatever they want with the crazy ideas. Like, for example, Bradley saw in Fairy Tail there, they can make her breast or her breast bigger and so on. If you don't have those kind of characters, we won't go that way. And actually, to be honest, I think that anime and manga has so much more interesting characters. And then something gender bender, cross-dressing, and traps. It's so much more common, right, in anime than it's way less. You remember old Haku in Naruto was gonna be changed into a girl in Naruto because, we can't have a cross-dress or a guy in love with a guy, right, in a cartoon. That wouldn't happen unless Brokeback Mountain was released, right, and was a big success. So Haku could still be a man. That is like, anime has always been way ahead of that stuff, honestly. Way ahead of that stuff. Way ahead of stuff than Disney and so on. Crazy. Give me like a lesbian prince in Disney. Then we're talking, yeah. Like, honestly, Jesus Christ. And, I mean, anime has so many good characters. Well, one thing I really want to talk about here, I really recommend, in my opinion, like the best homosexual gay relationship representation, talking about that last year, was easily Bloom Into You. That was an amazing anime. One of the best anime last year. And a fantastic story about 2 girls dating and so on, and I was really hands down. I didn't see anything close to that, especially not from Disney, especially not in Marvel and so on. Maybe some, you know, HBO, Netflix stuff, but not barely. Blow Into You, in my opinion, the best stuff. And I'm not talking about the storyline here, but my point, generally, of course, is that logically speaking here, right? I'm just like, but anime is already much better at writing female characters, interesting homosexual relationship, interesting gender bend and stuff and so on, like literally gender bend and so on, yeah, cross-dressing and sexual characters and so on, are much more common in anime, and they're much better written too. Like, for example, Iceman, like, I used to like Iceman, and again, like, I don't mind Iceman is gay, but his character is horribly written in the sense that it's just like, oh, here's Iceman, his own comic now, and he's gay. And his only personality is he's gay, right? He's not a person anymore, he's gay. And being gay isn't the personality, but that's how it's written. And he is also a bad character, has his own comic, because he's always been a part of the X-Men. He can't really hold a comic on his own, right? It's kind of weird and dynamic there, and have to invite. So it's very like forced, shoehorned in. He's gonna have his own comic because he's gay, and he never was gay for like 60 years of publication, whatever. It's like, but basically he's a horrible character. His writing is tremendously bad, and the same with other characters in Marvel and so on. They're really bad. The much better written gay characters in manga and anime, much better characters, because in, for example, Bloom Into You, at least 5 of them, and they're all different personalities, so on, right, and different issues with their life and social issues and school and work and so on, right. So it's actually a very well written anime, and it's completely different than honestly the horse crap that Marvel is writing about gay by gay characters. So it really doesn't make any goddamn sense in my opinion. Other examples I have done that are really good, like interesting anime. Fruit Basket, good shoujo anime going right now. Yet again, irritated me when I see these kind of comments saying, "Oh, we need more female characters and stuff." It's like, yeah, but anime has all the time. Anime is so much more female oriented than what Marvel is or whatever in Western stuff. They're very heartwarming anime. Absolutely recommend it. But it was yesterday, I just want to mention it because yesterday had, again, 4 animes, just straight up all about female. So yesterday I also had Butchie, about a girl that can't make any friends, social anxiety and so on. Yet again then, a good female main character. Absolutely recommend it. But still, this points again to me, I'm looking at this chart of like, there's about 50 animes this season, and yesterday 4 aired, and they were all had female main characters. And I'm just like, well, where's this evil fan service talking about? Where's this horrible fan service? None of them have any fan service. One of them is like a parody of fan service, so it might count if you really want to count it, but it's like, it's not really happening in anime. Anime has stuff like Lily, right? Like if you saw Zombieland Saga last year, cutest girl Lily in yeah, it's not, you know, I want to spoil, but I cried when I watched the episode. Very good episode, and the best line in the whole anime of Zombieland Saga is that with Saki, Gorsaki's best girl, and Saki says, Lily is Lily. Amazing comment. And that's the thing, right? When I watch anime, this is my opinion, but I think it's, the presentation here is more opinion based, of course, toward the fashion stuff. But I think that, yeah, again, anime is like, well, here I actually have a good character, which is cis, which is different, which is trans, and her friends are treating her nice, treating her as a person, and her being trans, or trap, whatever you want to fight that thing, doesn't actually affect who she is, doesn't affect her personality, doesn't change. She can still dance and sing and do her idol stuff and so on. No one really cares about it, and that's like a really good representation to me, because her being, again, not cis doesn't really matter in the end, and that's just so good, right? I think the same thing in my favorite anime this season, Karen Tuesday. When we had the kiss scene in Karen Tuesday last week, I was also like, yeah, okay, 2 female characters are kissing, and no one really comments about it. It's like, oh, that's cool, you're dating her. And then you just go on, yeah. Like, it's so good in Karen Tuesday. It's like, it's not focused on gay relationships, but it's just fine with it, it just shows it, and it moves on, right, yeah. And again, this in anime is so much better. But yeah, that's the video, guys. I know this last part is less logical. The first 2 parts, I think, is just straight up mathematically. It would be horrible for the anime industry and manga industry to copy what they're doing, because then we would have the same thing. They won't be unique, and they will sell less, and they can't compete with the manga and so on. And then the third thing, and I'll talk about a few animes here now, but I'm gonna show them right. The anime adaptation of LBTQ plus stuff like that and so on, female main characters, animes without an main character, are so much popular. Yes, there's a few fans of anime every now and then, but you have those animes, you have much more shoujo animes than you have like a horror anime. So like 10 shoujo anime per horror anime. So it really doesn't make it doesn't make any sense. It literally doesn't make any sense, because anime actually has way better representation than what the West has, by far, in my opinion it is. Anyway, hope you liked the video, guys. Press the subscribe button, press the like button, and I'll see you guys in my next video.